You chose absolutely right tuning into Rwanda Television News tonight. We do hope you had yourselves a great start to your week, and now this is what is coming up. The government of Rwanda has announced that in the future, the country will turn to genetically modified organisms or GMO in agriculture to ensure better food security. Youth from Rwanda's diaspora have noted that visiting the country is helping them to better understand the history of Rwanda and Rwandans in general and how they can help on the road to sustainable long-term development. A very great evening. We are very glad to have you accompany tonight, coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali. My name is Sam Kalisa. And as we kick it off, as we begin this edition of the news, let us inform you that on July 10th, President Paul Kagame attended the celebration of the 50th anniversary of independence of the Bahamas. The country was colonized by the United Kingdom and was granted independence on July 10th, 1973. During the celebrations, President Paul Kagame was awarded with the Bahamas' highest medal of honor in recognition of his friendship to the government and the people of the Bahamas. The head of state applauded the nation for the tremendous journey of development since gaining its independence.
A pillar of stability and prosperity in this region and a model to small island developing states all over the world. It is no accident that the post-independence period saw the Bahamas grow into a major financial center and one of the world's leading tourism destinations. The Bahamas have much to be proud of, including the good stewardship and leadership that has sustained this progress over the years.
The head of state further stressed the existence of a strong tie of relations between Rwanda and Bahamas, despite a great and long miles of distance between the two countries.
I wish to underscore the importance that Rwanda attaches to fostering closer relations between our peoples. By that, I mean, of course, the Bahamas and Rwanda, but also the Caribbean and Africa, more generally. The common history we share is undeniable, and it is undiluted by the ocean that separates us.
The Bahamas is a country consisting of nearly 700 small islands and cays located in the Atlantic Ocean, with a total area of 13,878 kilometers squared and a total coastline of 3,542 kilometers squared, with Nassau as the capital city of the country. Moving ahead to matters related to agriculture, the government of Rwanda has announced that in the future, the country will turn to genetically modified organisms, also known as GMOs, in agriculture to ensure better food security and productivity.
Top officials in the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources have confirmed that the technology is to be adopted in the near future. Our land is not expanding, and climate change is a real concern. So is the growing population, and I believe GMOs can be a solution to those problems because the technology allows for the maximization of yields on the smallest plots of farms possible. If it has worked elsewhere, including in developed countries, why can't it work here? A biosafety law has already been discussed, and now all that is needed is for it to be approved by the cabinet, after which it will make its way to parliament. Once in the official gazette, its implementation would not take more than 2 months. Our research on the technology itself is very promising, and once it becomes law, we want farmers to start using it because we are confident about the benefits. That confidence, however, is not shared by all. We sell our milk abroad, and many markets there do not allow GMO products. When GMO feeds are used on cows, it becomes evident in the milk they produce. Yet where we sell our milk, we are required to provide a GMO-free certificate, which means our milk cannot include genetically modified organisms.
Kugeza ubu Agra ntabwo irashyigikira mu buryo bweruye GMO, ariko
Up to this point in time, the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa, AGRA, has not fully supported GMO, but we are making progress on the matter. Let me explain. Take maize, for example. We used to use what we call OPV seeds that are not at all modern, and in the last 5 years, Rwandan farmers have embraced hybrid seeds that have increased yields from just 1.5 tons per hectare to more than 6.6 tons, and research has shown that there are no negative effects on the people who consume the maize. The fact is that innovation and technology are always on the move, and there are some that are quick to embrace that change, such as people in Kenya, while others are a bit more cautious.
Kenya n'ibindi ariko n'abitonda bakabatereka tubanze turebe n'ibintu nta ngaruka bifite ku buzima bw'abantu.
Officials in Rwanda's Ministry of Health have given assurances that caution has not been discarded on the matter of genetically modified organisms.
GMO iri safe, iri effective, nta kibazo biteye.
GMO is safe and effective with no problems arising. That is not just a fact here in Rwanda but elsewhere as well. It is not just a matter of accepting or refusing the technology. One must look at the benefits and ascertain that it will not have negative effects. And by principle, that is the approach we have taken on the matter. As long as no problems are found, it will be used. And Rwanda will use technology to address important issues as long as people's health is not negatively affected. In the meantime, the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources has organized a 2-day Rwanda Food Systems Partner Dialogue and Workshop to discuss how agricultural activities in the country can be more environmentally friendly while addressing issues such as the effects of climate change, food shortages, malnutrition, unemployment, and more.
Youth from Rwanda's diaspora have noted that visiting the country is helping them to better understand the history of Rwanda and Rwandans and how they can help on the road to sustainable development.
The young men and women are in the country as part of the third group to participate in this year's Rwanda Youth Tour, numbering 65 in total and coming from 15 countries from around the world.
So it's been 3 years now that I moved back to Rwanda. I moved during COVID and the lockdowns. It wasn't really easy because I couldn't travel as much as I wanted in the country. I couldn't do as much activities as I wanted. But I still grew up from that experience. I learned a lot. I learned the importance of community, and since then I've grown a lot. I'm still very happy of my choice. I'm growing. I'm happy, and yes, that I would say that's the most important too. My message to the youth is to enjoy this tour and to take the most of it. To be curious about Rwanda, about the history of Rwanda, so that they feel that sense of belonging, of being Rwandan, and maybe at some extent to maybe move back and to participate, take part of the country's history and development.
I'm here because actually my dad told me about it, and I was very interested in the experience, and I wanted to know more about my culture and my country and where I come from. Yeah, so I definitely want to visit the memorial site because I've heard, of course, about the history of the country, but I feel like seeing it and hearing stories about it is going to make it more realistic, and like I feel like I would connect to my roots more easily if I went to those sites. And I also want to visit the parks. I've heard that we have beautiful nature, and beautiful nature, and also I want to visit all the wildlife. And I think the biggest point that I retained from the minister is don't act a stranger even though you did not grow up in this country. I did not grow up here, but I do feel at home when I come here, and I think that the biggest thing that he said is to not listen to the rumors and to know your history, know where you're living. Even though I live in Canada, I should know more about the history from my country in Canada and my country over here.
The organizers of the trips have been expressing satisfaction at the results they are yielding, while officials in Rwanda's ministries of foreign affairs and international cooperation, as well as youth, have been urging the young people not to waste the opportunities they have been given, stressing the importance of learning of their history, especially the genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsi back in 1994. The first and second groups to visit the country as part of the initiative were comprised of 55 and 102 people respectively. Out of those two groups, 7 people remained in Rwanda for internships and employment opportunities, while 25 applied for Rwanda national identity cards.
Moving ahead to different matters, it's quite strange and interesting, but if you didn't know, the State of the Global Workspace Report 2022 has revealed that stress increased to 44% of all employees worldwide. Human resource managers are advised to know how to protect their emotions and those of their employees in order to achieve productivity at work. It is the first time stress rates reached 44% among public and private employees globally. 47% of female employees are stressed, whereas male stressed employees account for 42%. The issue is more prevalent on the African continent, as 39% of the workers in sub-Saharan African countries have stress disorders. Some employees and employers believe that a bad work environment is one of the triggers of high stress rates.
As long as actually I respect my work, that is when I'm working, I do my job in the right time and at the right position. And also for the worker, actually, for me to, for my boss actually to be in a good relationship with my boss, he needs to supply me with all the items or the basics I need at work. That is, if I need uniforms, to provide me with uniforms, if it is a laptop, that is whatever I need in my job to be able to deliver my job efficiently. If the boss is supplying, I think we will be in a good relationship.
Space to be able to organize myself properly. When there's a great organization, usually stress is practically inexistent. You also have, when you have enough space to speak, to be creative, when you feel heard by your different employers, your different colleagues, I think this helps you to not go anxious at work.
Ever since I started working with these institutions' employees, and no one have resigned, and that means something. Maybe it's because the institution is new, but of course it's not very new. But I think it means employees are happy here, unless something happens from now on. But so far, everything is still perfect. The report indicates that only 21% of the employees globally are happy at their workplace. The report also shows that in some countries like Canada, USA, Australia and more, employees have less stress and a bigger number of them do the kind of work they desire. HR expert Sarah Richson explains why.
I remember the thing that shocked me was, as an intern, I was asked to follow my boss to a meeting, and my boss introduced me as her colleague. She said, and let me introduce my colleague Sarah. And you know, in Africa, they used to say, let us introduce the intern. So see the difference between saying the intern and here is somebody saying my colleague. They used to make me sign in the email signature with a proper respectful title, not just intern. Whatever it is I was doing, whether it is helping with the media operations, whether it's helping with business operations, they'll tell me sign out as that. I was in one country in Africa where people are saying, yes, manager. They don't even say the name. And I was like, people call yes, manager, yes, I don't know, officer. That is not a name. Yes, Sarah. yes, Robert, yes, whatever. And you can do it respectfully. Respect is in the tone. It's not even the word, but the tone that you're using and everything. So that is something. We need to reduce too much of the authoritarian, like being a parent to employees in the organization, and rather treat them like, people who are coming to add value, just like you're adding value. Without them, you can't do your job as a leader.
Private and public institution leaders, as well as human resource managers of various institutions, are being trained on employees' emotional welfare. These days, you hear that someone died from stroke. This might be caused by too much stress, but also the inability to control your workload and relationships. That is why we bring experts from different countries to help us build good employees and good leaders. According to the report, 33% of global employees are thriving at work, 40% are worried, 11% are treated with respect, while 74% can relocate if given a chance. This puts employees in the sub-Saharan region on the second position of employees who wish to change their work at the 83% rate. Quite very interesting. You just know which category you lie in. And moving ahead, the NCBA Bank and the Akagera Business Group have signed an agreement that will facilitate the bank's clients who wish to purchase vehicles from the Akagera Business Group. Here's more.
The agreement will ensure that those who wish to purchase vehicles through accessing different financing methods are greatly facilitated.
Our special partnership with NCBA is going to be the fact that you can come into Akagera Motors, see your vehicle, negotiate the deal, and get approved by NCBA within 48 hours. In that deal, you're also going to get 3 years factory warranty, you're going to get comprehensive insurance, a full tank of fuel, and a specific agent to assist you with NCBA in getting your documents approved. This partnership, well, I expect for many customers to enter our showroom and to purchase vehicles from us working with NCBA, and to allow more luxury vehicles, more tropicalized vehicles, and new vehicles to be on the road.
The cost of financing such vehicles is also going to be addressed as part of the partnership.
Interest rates have been a major problem, but we're trying to bring down our interest rate offering. We'll be able to grant you vehicles at affordable interest rates that range between 16 and 17%, depending on the type of vehicle, depending on the type of business, and what the bank can benefit from overall. We're excited to be here with our customers. Our customers have shown interest in this partnership, and we're looking forward to supporting more of our customers as they come to the bank, as they come to ABG. Feel free to reach us at our NCBA offices and our branches. We have a team of dedicated relationship managers that will be able to serve and address the needs of our customers.
The partnership covers all makes and models sold by the Akagera Business Group, and that includes Nissan, Kia, Mahindra, Fuso, BMW, Toyota, MCV, and Fortune.
Rwandans and friends of Rwanda living in Uganda have celebrated the 29th anniversary of the liberation of the country, and officials have commended the good existing relations between the two countries.
During the celebrations that featured different dignitaries, it was noted that the relationship between Rwanda and Uganda is strong.
Our bilateral relations are now excellent, as manifested in visits by both our presidents. In April last year, His Excellency Paul Kagame, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, visited Uganda and had meetings with His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, where they exchanged ideas on different bilateral issues and regional matters. 2 months later, in June 2022, His Excellency President Yoweri Museveni also visited Rwanda, where he attended the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting.
It was also noted that both countries have a shared vision of development.
In terms of fighting the trade barriers that hit all of us together, in terms of competitiveness to the globe, in terms of setting standards and setting our own rules for trade on the World Trade Organization. We've joined together with Rwanda, we've joined together with Kenya, we've joined together with Tanzania and other countries to make sure that East Africa, the spirit of integration shines even deeper because of the unity that we have exhibited together.
Rwanda and Uganda share a strong bond that has been cemented over the decades as the people of the two countries have continued in their quest for a brighter future.
Moving ahead to justice matters, professional beliefs claim that the delay of finalization or closing of court cases is mainly due to long processes involved in the whole justice process and system in general. They therefore request concerned authorities to cooperate as far as the administration of justice is concerned. Shina Teta with the report.
According to the Rwandan Professional Bailiffs Association, only 41% of the total court cases were closed, which is still a small rate compared to what professional bailiffs wish to see, given the challenges they continue to face, including ineffective cooperation with other authorities. They urge relevant authorities to cooperate as far as providing justice is concerned. You cannot invest where there is no security because when they are about to give away property, some individuals tend to be violent, and it has happened to me as well. We explained challenges of lack of cooperation between sector leaders, where we spend almost a week looking for them to sign for you, yet we need to cooperate in order to deliver full services of justice. The president of the Professional Bailiffs Association, Jean-Aimé Niyonkuru, says that upon cooperation with the Rwanda National Police and other concerned authorities, provided will be solutions to the challenges faced, leading to the delay of justice provision.
Some of the concerned authorities include the Rwanda National Police, and we shall inform them about this issue so that we look for a solution and we believe it shall be solved for good.
The Minister of Justice, Dr. Emmanuel Ugirashewuja, urged bailiffs to address the different challenges faced and find solutions to reduce the number of delayed cases.
Finalizing trial cases is not an easy thing, where sometimes you need help from other authorities. We discussed about it and requested them to tell us the challenges they face. It is good to have a ground where you talk about different issues and provide relevant solutions.
The Rwandan Professional Bailiffs Association was created in 2001 by the Law No. 31/2001, responsible for its establishment and regulation. The Association of Professional Bailiffs currently has over 500 members. Shina Teta, RTV News.
With growing concerns of climate change, automobile factories are among the big contributors to this global issue, with 20% of the total carbon emissions. Now, with this issue alarming, my colleague Olive Nete sat down with Martin Bien, the chairperson and managing director of Volkswagen South Africa, to give more insights on the minimization of the ecological footprints and control of climate change and global warming in general.
Speaking of the automotive industry, which contributes a lot to global warming and a big problem on the continent as well as the whole world, what are the current initiatives that Volkswagen is doing to ensure that the environmental protection in its processes of, in the supply chain and its process of producing and manufacturing cars?
So Volkswagen globally is becoming carbon neutral by 2050. So that means not only the vehicles itself become emission free, but really the whole value chain becoming carbon neutral. And that mainly happens through really measures being implemented. And within this, or on the way to carbon neutrality 2050, we've got multiple initiatives. And you've heard about some in the morning. So our production network globally, for example, committed to we produce carbon neutral cars by 2030. So there's a lot of measures being implemented in the production. Depending on the country, here in South Africa, we look into photovoltaics, so solar panels instead of coal power. We look into wind wheeling. We do rainwater harvesting, which is not reducing CO2, but which helps in environmental protection. We had a huge project, or it's still going on. It's waste reduction, specifically in the parts which gets delivered to the line. So really remove what we can remove from a quality perspective, or reuse instead of only use it once. But of course, another contribution, that's the vehicles themselves, moving towards electric vehicles, reducing CO2, or being then also emission-free vehicles.
Looking at the perspective where the world is running on, technologies is included. How, specific technological advancement that Volkswagen is initiating to reduce the vehicle emission.
So, and you're addressing an important problem which we do have in Africa, because the technology which we implement to reduce CO2 emissions to then become emission-free in electric vehicles mainly depends on the fuel quality. And unfortunately, many African countries still run on very bad fuel for multiple reasons. But unfortunately, again, also this is not in our hands. So as soon, it's except lobbying, which we do a lot, but as soon as the countries move to higher emission standards, many of them are Euro 3 currently, even the step to Euro 4 already helps to reduce CO2 emissions. And with higher emission standards comes better technology, reducing CO2, reducing NOx, for example, reducing other parts of the emissions to either help like really protecting the environment or the health of the people. So, but that comes down to better fuel quality in the countries.
You mentioned fuel quality. What would your advice be to the governments of Africa to ensure that they get the best quality of fuel, which is still hindering the seeing new cars on the continent and reduce the importation of used cars?
So there's many African countries with own refineries, so that requires investment in the refineries to get better fuel quality. So if countries, and I know some countries have it in their plans, but it costs money. Probably it's a bit easier for countries which don't have own refineries, because they kind of decide themselves where they can purchase. So mainly what can be done in countries is to kind of put a law in place which quality of the fuel must be sold in the different countries. So that's what Kenya, for example, has done recently. It still sits in court, unfortunately, to say, okay, minimum emission level in this country now is Euro 4, and then the industries have to move, and like the petrol industry or the diesel industry have to move and adjust and purchase. Well, I had the opportunity to visit His Excellency President Kagame. We were exactly discussing this topic, and he was very open to addressing this issue. Rwanda is also a Euro 3 country, to addressing this issue in the country, because it's not only for us, or it's mainly rather for the people and for the environment, if we manage to get better emission standards in the countries.
Do you see a promising future of the automotive industry on the African continent?
Very much so. I'm very passionate about not helping to develop, but helping to grow the automotive industry on the African continent. African Continental Free Trade Agreement is a fantastic framework, not only for automotive but for many industries. If really the country manages to unite somehow and act as one Africa, let's say, to a certain extent. And automotive is for sure one of the bigger opportunities within that. Important is that to find a place for all the countries. So, and that's also not only talking to automotive industry, but to all industries. So everybody must start also talking with the neighboring countries, kind of who's doing what and what share, and how can I participate as a country or whatever. So, but I see a huge opportunity, and African automotive market is the last frontier. So if there is growth in the automotive industry, I see it in Africa. Other markets are almost matured. So we compete, and then probably I'll get a car which is like from another competitor, but like really growth happens in Africa.
And this very report sums up our tonight's edition, and on behalf of the entire news production as well as the technical team, many thanks for being with us on this edition, and up until next time, stay safe and have a great week ahead. Goodbye.